All right, so I want you to picture something. Imagine you're standing in a garden, and I don't mean just a backyard veggie patch. Think more like the manicured, almost obsessively curated grounds of the Intercontinental in Malaysia. It's all about luxury, perfection, control. But right there, smack in the middle of all this orchestrated beauty, is this massive wild tree. It's immense. It's clearly been there longer than the hotel. And here's the kicker: the guests. They just walk right past it. It's like it's invisible.
It's that classic selective blindness thing, isn't it? I mean, we see what we're sort of conditioned to see in a hotel. You're looking for the pool, the bar, the concierge. You don't really look for the ancient, untamed things standing in the dirt.
Right, but one man does see it, and that man is our entry point for our deep dive today. We're unpacking a really fascinating piece of writing called Le Conte d'Annan et de l'Arbre des Heures, which translates to The Tale of Nana and the Tree of Hours. It sounds like a fairy tale, but it's actually this very grounded, almost gritty look at a modern crisis.
I'm so glad we're doing this one. Because this isn't just a story about a tree or a romance. It's a profound psychological study on the idea of time specifically. The difference between, say, managing time and actually inhabiting it. It asks a question that makes a lot of, high performers really uncomfortable. Are you living your life or are you just facilitating it?
That distinction is exactly why I wanted to bring this to you all. We live in this world that's obsessed with optimization, with time management, but this source suggests we might be missing the entire point. So let's set the stage. Who is this guy? The one who actually notices the tree.
Well, our protagonist is a career hotelier. And the text paints this very specific, very sharp picture of him. He isn't just working the front desk. He's the architect of comfort. He manages multiple properties. He anticipates desires before guests even know they have them. He solves emergencies before they even become visible. He's the guy who makes all the magic happen behind the scenes.
So a professional fixer, the guy who makes sure your vacation is absolutely flawless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the text gives us this really brutal insight into his internal state. It says he knew how to give the illusion of time to his guests, making their vacation feel perfect and endless. But he never actually lived it himself. He was a facilitator of life, not a participant.
Wow. That hits hard. Giving the illusion of time while running out of it yourself, it almost sounds like high-functioning burnout, but, I don't know, with a better suit.
It is, but it's a very specific kind. It's this professional detachment. He lives in hotels where he's between flights. He has no roots. He's efficient, he's polished, and he's completely hollow. He has optimized his life so much that he's basically optimized himself out of the experience of living it.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. You schedule everything so perfectly that you don't actually leave room to feel anything, but usually it takes a massive shock to break that cycle. And in this story, the shock isn't a business failure or a health scare, it's the death of his dog.
Which is such an interesting choice by the author. Why a dog? And I think it's because the relationship with a dog is stripped of all that social performance. You don't have to manage a dog's experience the way you manage a VIP guest. When the dog dies, the text says the world slowed down despite him. He can't fix this. He can't upgrade the dog to a better room. It's this finality he can't orchestrate.
And this is what leads him to the tree. He needs a place to bury the animal, and he chooses that huge, unnoticed tree in the hotel garden.
Right. The source notes that he chose it because it offered an inexplicable peace. It was a place he used to go just to vanish for a few minutes. No phone, no agenda.
Just him in the tree.
Yeah.
The description of the scene here is so vivid. He's digging the grave himself. He doesn't call the groundskeeping staff or anything.
And that physical act is just so crucial. Until now, his life has been air-conditioned, sterile, clean. Now he's sweating. He's kneeling in the dirt. The text really emphasizes that the earth is warm and dense, almost alive. And he has this realization in that moment that he never learned to do things slowly. He only ever knew how to pass through quickly.
He's confronting his own speed. He's being physically forced to slow down by the dense earth, probably sweating through his expensive suit. And then clunk.
The inciting incident.
Right. The shovel hits metal. He stalks, wipes his forehead, and starts digging with his hands. He pulls out this ancient, rusty box, and the text describes it as being heavy with silence. Now, I have to be honest. If I'm digging a hole and find a metal box, I am opening it immediately. I have to know what's inside, but he doesn't, does he?
No, and I think that just shows the shift that's already happening inside him. He actually pauses. He leans back against the tree trunk and just listens to the garden breathe. It's a moment of stillness he would normally never allow himself. He's honoring the moment instead of rushing to the result. It's a small rebellion against his own efficiency.
That pause is the first crack in the armor. Okay, so eventually he opens it, And this is the pivot for the whole deep dive. What's inside is not gold or jewels.
No, it's something much, much heavier. It's like a time capsule of emotion.
Yeah.
Inside, there are these faded photographs of a woman, and she's described not as a movie star, but as having a quiet beauty, a look that asked for nothing. And with the photos, there's a letter, dated 1963.
1963. So we are stepping way back into a totally different social context, a different
Yes,
world.
Totally. And the letter is a confession. It's written by a man detailing this immense love that was blocked by the, social constraints of the time honor, family, custom, all the things that used to dictate our lives.
The classic forbidden love story. The woman had to marry someone else for her family's honor, that kind of thing.
Yes, and she married the letter writer's best friend. But here's the key part, and it's what completely floors our hotelier. The writer of the letter didn't react with anger. He didn't try to steal her away. He didn't burn the world down. The letter has this one phrase that is just the moral center of the whole story. To love, sometimes, is knowing how to efface oneself without ceasing to love.
Knowing how to efface oneself. Can we unpack that? Because efface usually means to erase yourself, to wipe yourself out.
Not quite. In this context, it's more about stepping back. It's the ultimate form of non-possessive love. It's realizing that your absence might be the most loving gift you can give to allow the other person to fulfill their duty or find their own peace. It's this silent nobility. It's accepting the pain so the other person doesn't have to carry the guilt.
That has to be such a heavy concept for our hotelier. He's a guy who fixes everything, controls everything. His whole life is about intervention. And here's this story about a man who let go.
And that's why it acts as a mirror. The hotelier reads this, and he has to look at his own life. He's a bachelor, always moving, always flying. He tells himself he's just independent. But looking at this letter, he realizes that every time he ended a relationship or moved to a new city, he wasn't practicing some kind of noble effacement.
He was just running away.
He was just running away. He realizes he was fleeing the risk of staying.
That is such a key distinction. The letter writer left because he felt he had to, for honor, for duty. The hotelier leaves because he's afraid to stay.
Exactly. Staying is risky. Leaving is safe because you control the exit. Staying means you have to surrender to the unfolding of time, the boredom, the conflict, the aging, the vulnerability, all the messy things he has spent his career controlling for other people.
He curated his whole life to avoid the mess of staying.
Yes.
So he's holding this letter, having this massive realization, and there's an address on it, and this is the part that just kills me. The address is in an old district, literally minutes away from the hotel.
Minutes away. That detail is so intentional.
He's worked there for years and never explored it. He flies all around the world, but he doesn't know what's 2 blocks over.
It speaks to the tunnel vision of his professional life. We so often think the life we want or the adventure we need is on the other side of the planet, or that it requires some massive change. The text is suggesting the life he needed was sitting right next door in a district he was just too busy to walk through.
So he leaves the hotel, follows the address. Is he expecting to find the woman from 1963? I mean, she'd be quite old by now.
The text is a little ambiguous on the exact family line, but he knocks on the door, and a woman opens it. Her name is Luminata, and the implication is a very strong connection, maybe a daughter or a granddaughter, or maybe the story is playing with a more spiritual link, a sort of reincarnation of that quiet beauty. But whatever it is, the connection is immediate.
Is it like a big romantic love at first sight moment? Fireworks?
It's quieter than that. It's described more as a recognition. The text says it happened by evidence.
Yeah.
It was just evident,
Yeah.
obvious. They barely even speak, but the silences between them are inhabited.
Inhabited silence. I love that phrase. It's the total opposite of an awkward silence. It's when you don't have to do the whole resume dance. You don't have to explain your job title.
Right. And Luminata, or Nana, as we'll get to know her, she sees right through his suit and his polish. She realizes very quickly that this is a man who knows the logistics of the world without ever having truly walked through it. He knows flight schedules, but he doesn't know the smell of the rain.
Does she call him out on it?
Gently. She becomes his guide. And notice the role reversal here. He's the master of hospitality, the expert manager. But in her world, he's a total novice. She starts taking him on these excursions with no itinerary.
That must be terrifying for him. No itinerary, no reservation.
It's the complete retraining of the hotelier. They go to wet markets at dawn. They drive down winding roads into these thick forests where the air just sticks to your skin. She walks ahead laughing, and he just follows. He learns the simple pleasure of being guided. He learns to let go of the steering wheel.
There's one specific scene that really stands out in the source material. The waterfall.
Yes, they get caught under a waterfall,
Wow.
and the water just dumps on them. They're soaked, messy, hair everywhere.
Which is the absolute antithesis of the hotel experience he creates. Hotels are dry, climate-controlled, predictable. If a guest gets unexpectedly wet, someone gets fired.
Exactly. You cannot schedule a waterfall. It is pure chaotic nature. And instead of panicking or checking his phone or worrying about his silk tie, they just laugh. And that's where the first kiss happens. The text describes it as tender and burning. It's the moment he finally steps out of the illusion of time and into a real, uncontrolled moment.
So this relationship is changing him internally, but the text also spends a lot of time on how it changes his external environment, specifically his house.
This is such a crucial metaphor. We have to talk about his house. Before Nana, it's described as basically a storage unit for a human. It's near the beach, but it's full of unopened boxes. The walls are inhabited by absence. He only sleeps there between flights. It's a depot, not a home.
I think we all have those unopened boxes in our lives, don't we? Maybe literally or metaphorically. Things we're saving for later, for when we have time. The guitar we don't play, the books we don't read.
And Nana enters this space like a promise. But notice what she doesn't do. She doesn't call a contractor. She doesn't buy expensive furniture. She opens the windows. She unpacks his boxes. She plants flowers.
She lives in it.
She transforms it from a space into a place just by inhabiting it. One morning he wakes up with sunlight on his face and realizes the sea is there, like actually present. He realizes he has a home. He didn't need a new house. He just needed to finally arrive in the one he already had.
And this brings us to her name. Luminata is a beautiful name. Sounds almost celestial, but she goes by Nana.
She tells him Luminata was too long for childhood. Her grandmother called her Nana. And the text says, sometimes love chooses simplicity.
That feels like such a direct rebuttal to his entire previous life of luxury and complexity. He spent his life adding layers of service and luxury, and she just strips it all back. Simplicity chosen by love.
And his soul recognizes that name, Nana. It anchors him. It represents the shift from the complex, orchestrated life to the simple, grounded life. It's a name you can whisper.
Now, Nana doesn't come alone. The story expands the circle. There's a child involved.
A 5-year-old girl. And this just adds another layer of risk to staying. Children are chaos engines. You can't manage them like hotel staff. They demand your presence, not your perfection.
How does the hotelier handle that? He's used to people who do what they're told.
At first with prudence. He's very cautious. But the child offers him this instinctive trust. There's a beautiful image of the little girl sleeping against him. The text calls it a fragile treasure he never wants to betray.
That's a very different kind of responsibility from managing a profit and loss statement or a grand opening.
It's the terrifying responsibility of being loved. It's the fear that you might break something that can't be replaced. And it leads to the emotional peak of the whole narrative, the scene on the beach at twilight.
He picks up a guitar, which, by the way, we didn't even know he could play. It was probably in one of those unopened boxes.
He probably hasn't played in years.
Wow.
He picks it up, sitting there with Nana and the child. He starts to sing a song called Ma Nana. And the detail that matters here isn't the lyrics or the melody. It's that his voice trembles.
Why does that matter?
Because in his professional life, nothing trembles. Everything is polished. Everything is rehearsed. If he were performing for guests, he'd be perfect. But he's not performing here. He's sharing. The trembling is the proof of his authenticity. It's the sound of him finally being vulnerable.
And the child falls asleep holding his hand. The text says the house, the garden, the beach, everything seems to hold its breath to protect this one moment of happiness.
It's a moment of complete integration. He's no longer observing his life from a distance. He is in it. He is staying.
And then we get the climax, which isn't an explosion or a car chase or some sudden tragedy. It's a single tear.
A tear of gratitude.
Yeah.
The text makes a specific point to say it's not sadness. He's not crying for the years he lost. He's crying because he has finally arrived.
It's relief.
It is. It's the relief of finally dropping the act.
The source material ends with this really profound thought that I want to make sure we land on. It says, some stories don't save the world, they save a man. And sometimes that is already immense.
That challenges our whole definition of a great story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We're trained to look for these epic scales, saving the universe, changing history, stopping a war.
Yeah.
But this text argues that saving one person's capacity to love and be present, that is immense.
Because if you save the man, you change the world immediately around him. His staff, his guests, this family, they all get to experience a different version of him. The ripple effect is real.
Exactly. He is finally there, entirely. Loving, chosen, and choosing. He realizes that life can be sweet and long if you just know how to... What were the three things the text highlights?
Stay, listen, and love.
Stay, listen, and love. It sounds like a bumper sticker, doesn't it? But when you see the journey he took to get there, the digging in the dirt, the terrifying letter, the vulnerability of that trembling voice, you realize how incredibly hard those three things actually are.
They are incredibly hard because they all require surrendering control.
It's a journey from efficiency to presence, from the illusion of time to the experience of time. It's about realizing that time management is a trap if you aren't managing to actually be there for the time you have.
So bringing this back to all of you listening, we aren't all international hoteliers burying mysterious boxes in Malaysia. We don't all have a magical tree in our backyard. But I think that unopened box metaphor is universal.
And I think the biggest takeaway is the proximity of the life you might be looking for. Remember, the address was minutes away. He ignored it for years because he was too busy managing the illusion. He thought he had to fly to Paris or New York to find meaning.
That's the haunting part, isn't it? What is sitting right next to us right now that we are ignoring because we're too busy looking at our agendas? What street have we driven past 1,000 times but never actually walked down?
It really invites us to stop orchestrating and just start inhabiting.
Yeah.
To risk staying.
To risk staying. That's a scary thought for a lot of people. It means you can't just bail when things get messy or boring.
But that's where the abri there, the tree of hours, is found. It's in the mess, in the dirt, in the time you spend just listening to the garden breathe. You can't find the tree of hours in the schedule. You find it in the pauses.
This story, Le Conte Nana et de l'Arbre désert, is really a hidden gem. It takes us from that polished hotel lobby to the messy reality of a rainforest and a home filled with sea air. And it makes a compelling case that the messy version is so much better.
It's a testament to the fact that it is never too late to open the box, to read the letter, to let the sea in.
And to find your Nana, whatever or whoever that represents for you. That's simplicity chosen by love.
Precisely.
So here's a question for you to mull over as you go about your day. We all have those unopened boxes, projects, relationships, parts of ourselves we've packed away. But maybe more importantly, is there a place, a street, or a person just minutes away from your daily routine that you have never explored? What might be waiting for you just outside the illusion of time you've built for yourself?
You might be closer than you think.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.
It's been a pleasure.